Hello! Hello everyone! Welcome to my very small YouTube channel about knitting, mostly knitting. I am in France. My name is Isabelle. I have 3 sons and I have 3 cats. Some say it's related. And I'm filming these videos in English because I miss my English very much, even though I used to live in the United States. That was 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, and I don't have many opportunities to practice my English. So this is why I'm filming these videos in English, and today it's going to be a regular knitting adventure in the same format as you can find about everywhere. And if that sounds good to you, please stay tuned. So today we are on the 4th of January. So in France we have 1 month to wish people, everyone, a very happy new year. So I do hope you have a very happy new year. I do hope the world has a better year than last year, and with less disease, death and war, and that even though the world is looking like it's a bit falling apart around us, I hope that your knitting will give you comfort and joy, because it's one way to find balance into our lives. So you may have heard my lady cat asked to go out, so I had to interrupt to open the door for her. My second cat is out also. I'm not sure what they are doing. They are in and out when the weather is not very good. So cat's life, and I'm just, they are allowing me to live with them. Anyway, so what am I wearing? My Sotabosc shawl. I'm leaving the better part for the end. My Sotabosc shawl that I have from Elena Soler Gensa from the 52 Weeks of Shawls book that you have seen already in recent videos. And I knit this one with Dereron Natura Ulysse yarn in quartz. I love it. It's very light and warm, and I think it goes very well with the main piece for today, which is my Sorrel sweater. You may have, seen all my adventures knitting it, and all the time it took me to knit it, because I think I've started it, let me be very clear, I started it at the beginning of December and I finished it on the beginning of September, I'm not sure what I said, 2022, and I finished it on December 22nd of 2022. So it took me almost October, November, almost 4 months, maybe 3.5 months. Not a difficult knit, but an enjoyable knit. I enjoyed the process, but it's a dark color. I'm using dark colors, and I can't knit at night with dark colors. So anyway, the Sorrel I choose to knit with La Bien-Aimée Fade. At the top, on the yoke, is air guitar that was held with mohair, the Winterfell, her mohair, the Winterfell colorway, which is a very, very dark blue. And I loved this colorway so much that I extended a bit the yoke, because I was thinking maybe I would need a bit deeper yoke so that I can finish almost all of the yarn. I have a very tiny little ball left, almost nothing. Then I fade it into Storm, which is a gray, but with other, the same kind of tones, but that in air guitar, but very toned down, very light and very subtle. And I finished with the North, which has a bit more green than Storm had, and which is a much deeper tone. So I will stand up so that you can see the body. I made it a bit boxy, not too long. I would not say cropped. My hip bones are about here, so it's about the length of my hip bone, but I don't like we see my tummy. So yeah, and here you have the complete fade between air guitar, storm, and the north. These yarn are a delight to knit with. I know that some of you have decided to get some of La Bien-Aimé's merino single to knit sweaters. It's a real treat. It's a very expensive yarn. Yeah, it's a real treat. But you know, if you choose to do it and experiment, I know there are many beautiful dyers about everywhere, and most probably close by to you. But it's an exceptional yarn to me, one of the best yarn I've knit with so far. So yeah, it was a pleasure to knit. It's a pleasure to wear. I'm not letting my baby cat out because I have to go work and I will be gone for about 4 or 5 hours. So I don't want to let him outside. The other ones can live outside for a few hours, no problem. And it's not going to be raining too deeply, so too strongly. So they can stay out unless they come back home before I leave. But he's totally unable to be outside more than 5 minutes. Anyway, I've been wearing that sweater with a shawl almost every day since I finished it. People have complimented. I've mostly seen my family complimented on the colors and the pattern. The pattern is very well written. I do encourage you to knit it because yeah, it's a beautiful process, a beautiful finished object, and with the yarn, the combination is just one of my favorite pieces so far. So next we are going to be moving to my work in progress, and I have several, and I have casted on Christmas Day and on New Year's Day. So that has, you know, leveled up my work in progress game, and I'm not used to having a lot of work in progress at the same time. It, you know, fills my head and makes me a bit uncomfortable. So I will have to manage that. So I'm not sure if you had seen the Annette mittens. So I forgot to say the Sorrel was by Woolen Pine. I'm sure I will have written that down below the video, but and in the description box. Everything is always in the description box. The Annette mittens are by Lauriane et Charlie. I'm not sure I had finished one last time I recorded. If I had, I'm very sorry. You're going to see it again. I've made one mitten. There was a bit of adventures with that mitten. I had to do it several times over, twice, because, you know, I'm not reading patterns. I say, okay. But I like very much the little butterfly stitch that you can find it here. I made it a bit longer on the cuff. I made it, I think, the regular length she was calling for the thumb and the top of the mitten. And I used twisted ribs that I prefer. I prefer the look of twisted ribs when I can use them, even though they are twisted ribs are a bit stiffer than regular 1x1 ribs, but I like the look a bit better. So I have one mitten. I brought, you know, I did not need that much. I did knit a bit, but not very much when I was away to visit my family during the New Year's weekend. I had brought the yarn. This yarn is the Mariner yarn that my son Theo brought me and bought for me when he was in Cardiff for a science conference. I did not touch it. Nothing. I did not touch it at all because I have one cast on that I'm very much looking forward to be knitting on it, and I knit and I you know I spend my time knitting that one. Okay, next work in progress is one you have seen after I cast it on, and I haven't worked on it, or maybe only twice, because one row takes a lot of time, even though the circumference of the neck warmer, it's the gingham neck warmer in double knit by Gabriela Papali, and it requires a lot of attention. I had never done double knit, so I said, okay, let's go, and it needs a lot of headspace. And I'm using the DMC woolly yarn that my son Paulin and his girlfriend gave me for my birthday. I think this one is Paulin and this one is Parme. But it's gonna be nice. It's a gingham pattern, so where it's on the Parme or light violet side, it's the yellow one, and you have alternating yellow and violet type of color on both sides. It needs my attention, so it's a clear color. I can knit that at night when I'm not too tired, or when I have enough headspace. Okay, next is my Christmas morning cast on. It's the Rainforest Canopy Shawl that I knit with Louis and Lola Merino singles that one of the lovely you have gifted me with for my birthday. So both the yarn and the pattern. So I decided to knit the pattern with that very yarn in another deep purple violet type of color with greener speckles. So here I found one stitch that was just attached, but by a little thread. I think I did not knit that right. It was too far away for me to repair, to rib back, and I did not want to rib back the whole thing, and I did not want to rib back down just that one stitch. So I've secured it here, and I'll see, I may attach it in a way that it won't be visible. Anyway, this lace that will be opening up once I get to block it, does require some attention, so that everything aligns. The pattern is extremely well written. You have the instructions for each row, the stitch count for each row, and the progress that you've made at some point. So I guess I'm between 10 and 15% done. So it's going to be a long knit. But a very, very beautiful shawl. Maybe you see it. Oh, okay, maybe the lace, you see it that way. And I chose to knit just garter stitch in between. So it's going to be a very light and most probably warm shawl too. And I would say that the Merino singles from Louis and Lola is not that far away from the Merino singles from La Bien-Aimée. Here you have the skin and with the deep purple type or light purple type of color with greener speckles. So the pattern, the Rainforest Canopy Shawl, is by Helen Stewart, and so she designed the pattern to go with the yarn. Okay, next is my New Year's cast on. And it's the Borough Hood by Tori Yu, and I'm using the Bichebuche. So it's the Bichebuche Le Petit Lamb's Wool in dark blue turquoise and the matching mohair from Bichebuche, the Petit Silk mohair and mohair. So I cast on that hood because I think it's gonna be very flattering to my skin color and my eye color if I wear it close to my face. So I just casted on, I casted on New Year's the morning because I was away and I worked a bit on it, and you work short rows. So this is an I-cord cast on, the same as the neck warmer, the gingham neck warmer. I don't like I-cord cast-ons. It takes a long time. Anyway, that's what the pattern was calling for. So I just made it. If I do it again, I may do a different way, but anyway. And I'm, for the moment, right now, working short rows for the hood, and the hood is mainly short rows. So I have to share needles. I share these needles with my next whip, and the same for the wooden needles. For the rainforest canopy shawl, it's the same needles I use for the gingham neck warmer. So these, I share my needles, but it's okay. Very, very beautiful color, a very soft fabric with the mohair. And I have to say, and in my opinion, Le Petit Lamb's wool, to the touch, and I have to see if it's, you know, it's a little thinner than Ulysse from Derreron Natura, the one I used for the shawl, but the touch is very similar. It's very close to the touch and to the way it knits. Of course, I haven't mixed Ulysse or any other Derreron Natura yarn with mohair, so of course the finished aspect and the finished feel of it, it's different because of the mohair, but in the skin, the yarn is very similar to me. So, I as I like a lot Derreron Natura yarns, I think I love also the Biche yarn that one of you offered me, and the color is just matching perfectly what, I had decided once I have knit all my stash that I would go towards this kind of green, so it was a perfect choice. Okay, next is a surprise cast on for you. Not completely a surprise for me because, of course, I decided to cast on. But once my Sorrel sweater was finished, I was thinking I want to cast on another sweater because I have a lot of yarn that I've dedicated to sweaters. So I have the hood, I have a shawl, I have a caul, I have a mitten to finish as work in progress, and so a lot of accessories. That's fine. But I wanted to cast on another sweater to use yarn from my stash, and I decided to cast on the Agnes sweater by Camille Avad with the mohair I brought from the Poitou. So I brought this mohair this summer from Poitou. It's a farm that is about an hour from my mother's house, and part of the goats in that farm come from the one from the Pyrenees, because the lady who started the farm, so she took over her parents' farm who were raising cattle. She turned completely the farm upside down and started to raise the goats, and she had spent 2 hours with the lady in the Pyrenees to learn how to raise these goats. So I'm gonna stand up to show you, but I think I'm gonna cut here so that you don't hear the sound of my chair. Okay, so this is the Agnes jumper. So the main color is gonna be the medium gray. I wanted the main color to be the darker gray, but there was not enough in the store at that moment when I was there to do that. So the darker gray is one of the contrasting color with a light icy blue, the medium gray is here, and a white. And okay, so my second cat is here. I'm going to be opening to him. Okay, he's in. He may have, he may ask for food. They always have food all the time, dry food, and sometimes I give them treats which with you know, wet food, but then they usually ask for that. So yeah, so 4 colors, the main color, and 3 contrasting colors. You can see the little fuzziness, the fuzziness of the mohair. Here is the inside. So all this, the yolk part is almost double knitting because of the floats. And as I was telling one of you this morning, I rarely catch my floats. It has to be at least, you know, 7 stitches, or it has to be for a mitten for me to catch my, or something I can, you know, it can, you can place your fingers or rings or something in it. So I rarely, very rarely catch my floats, but what I do is that when I knit, I spread out. I think the right is on this side for you. I spread out a lot of the all the stitches on the right needle, so that the float that's coming from the other color is long enough so that it doesn't get all you know, cramped up. So here are my floats for the yoke, and the yoke is it's gonna be a very, very warm, so I have to knit that one quickly, because if we go to warmer weather, I won't be able to wear it. Anyway, I've separated for the sleeves, and so after you work the color work, you work short rows in the back, so you see there is a bit more fabric in the back. And yeah, it's going, it's a quick knit, because I think I went down 1 needle size when I went to knit the plain stockinette, regarding to the needle size I had for the yoke. I will write down the screen the needle sizes I'm using, because I don't recall and I can't see them right now. One thing is I'm knitting, I think it's, I do not recall if it's the medium or the small size, because the yarn I'm using, of course, is absolutely not the one that was recommended in the pattern. So it's absolutely not the same gauge, not at all. So, and did I swatch? No. I was so impatient to cast on, and I said, okay, I'm gonna make an educated, wild guess from knitting 1 by 1 ribs with smaller needles, and I will have a wild guess at my gauge. So I was aiming for maybe, so they are playing 100 centimeter, 110 centimeter size, and I think I went down after I knit the color at least 3 sizes, I think, in the calculations. At least I went down as low as I could for the same needle counts, because I think 4 or 5 sizes share the same needle count for the color, and then the smallest size has a different, or maybe the 2 smallest size have a different needle count. I'm sure you had understood stitch count, and then, you know, 4 or 5 in the middle range have the same stitch count at the end of the color, and then the biggest sizes have a higher stitch count. So it's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. It's not gonna be as fitted as the Sorrel sweater is. It's gonna be big. It's gonna be very warm, and so it's gonna be boxy. Let's say it's gonna be boxy, and yeah, it's a very satisfying knit. This mohair is as nice as the one I buy in the Pyrenees. It's very soft. And I'll have to double check, because on the label it says 100% mohair, and I know that the one from the Pyrenees has a silk thread in it, so that the mohair is threaded around the silk thread. But Other than that, it's a beautiful yarn. I used the colors that were available, and I wanted, anyway. I think it's a beautiful pattern. It's very well written. I have a second one from Camille Avad. If you have not knit any of her patterns, there is absolutely no problem. One thing is, at the very bottom, when you knit the yoke, at the end of the color work, what the chart says, it's charted. What the chart says is different from what her samples looks like, the one she made. If you look at some of the projects that are finished and that when people have posted pictures, you will see that not all these parts have the same length. I've contacted her to ask her if this was a mistake in the pattern or whatever. There was no errata from this pattern that I could find. Maybe there is one, I did not find it. Anyway, some of the projects have what the chart says, and her samples show what I did. So I did not follow the chart for that last part. Anyway, I like it better that way. It was not difficult to spot the problem and make it work. It's gonna be one of these very, 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 very warm sweaters. And in a way, you know, it's okay, even if I do finish it later on in the season and we are not experimented very cold days. In Normandy, the problem is not the temperature. It doesn't go very low. Sometimes it does, but usually not much snow. It doesn't go very low. Temperatures on. The problem is the humidity. And when it is either not too cold, not too warm, the heater does not pick up because it's, you know, what I'm asking for in the house, but the humidity makes it feel a lot colder. So I usually use my old sweaters that, you know, I can't wear at work in that way. And I think this one is going to be keeping me very warm in the house whenever the humidity is high and it's raining and gray every day. And when the heater, it's not cold enough for the heater to pick up and heat the house. So yeah, that's the Agnes jumper, and very satisfying knit once again. Okay, next is a present my eldest son and his girlfriend got me for Christmas. I had a list that I had given them, and it's the Contrast book by Mayu KP. It was the top of my list, and they found it in a very small shop in Bretagne. I think it's called Laine des Îles. I'm not quite sure, I recall. I will write it here and down below in the description box. So Mayu is a fabulous designer. This book, you can see everything that I've already spotted I want to make. I'm not going to be showing either the pages or maybe just one. The one, I'm not sure which one is my favorite. This one, which is, what's your name? Your name is Sorrel. The Sirona sweater. Look at the yoke. Look at the yoke. And so the whole book is for sweaters and accessories that with stitch motifs, cables or lace, or I've knitted one pattern from Mayu KP already. Very well written. I had absolutely no doubt that this book would be beautiful. So this book has come into my life, so that's in the very short period of time, that's 3 books that have been coming into my life. And so yeah, a lot of food for thoughts, for daydreaming, and for future projects. Okay, so that's all my whips for today. 1 finished object and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whips. It's very unusual for me, so I have to arrange and rotate the whips, or maybe I will, the work in progress, all my projects in progress, or maybe I will decide I'm going to be concentrated on one. I'm not sure what I will do, but anyway, casting on the canopy, rainforest canopy shawl on Christmas morning was a very, very nice way to finish the year, thanks to one of you. Casting on the borrow hat, not the borrow hat, the borrow hood by Toriu on New Year's morning was another very nice way to start the year. Once again, thanks to one of you. And I will take the time that I need. Either I will rotate between my work in progress, or I will concentrate on one, finish one, and then the other. I'm not sure what I will do, but what I know is that all my current work in progress are bringing me much joy and happiness, and 2 of them, it's thanks to you. I will never thank you enough for that. You will never be able to imagine how happy I am to have received this yarn, to have started the project. And yeah, it's lots of happiness that you have offered me, other than just yarn and objects. Lots of happiness. And yeah, I do hope that your knitting is gonna be bringing you joy and happiness today and for the whole year. That you will find comfort working with your hands, making beautiful things, either for you or for other people. And that you will be able to concentrate on something very positive, maybe only 10 stitches per day, 1 row per day, 10 rows per day, little by little. And these little sparks of happiness will be enlightening every day of this year. And that you will be able to manage going through all the dark times that maybe you are experimenting, that we are experimenting. And I thank you very, very much for being here, for being my internet friends, and I will see you next time.